A new trend was sweeping through the lives of Japanese women, from elite flight attendants on the Tokyo-New York route to middle-aged expatriates settling in the United States. The reason was singular: marrying American men. A social media post celebrating such a marriage would instantly garner millions of comments. The more they got to know American men, the more they were captivated by their charm. "I highly recommend marrying an American," they'd say. What was it about these men that so enchanted Japanese women enough for them to leave their homeland behind? My name is Shuno Shusa, 48 years old, a director at a major Japanese financial group. After losing my husband, I had completely sealed off my heart. He had suffered from a chronic heart condition, and during his final treatment in an American hospital, a communication breakdown occurred among the American doctors and nurses. Afterward, his condition deteriorated rapidly. The medical team insisted it wasn't a direct error, but for me, that day became an indelible scar. Americans can't be trusted. I lived my life by that creed. America, I thought, was a country built on a chaotic system, utterly different from the precision of Japan or the transparent structures of developed European nations. It was a nation that was emotionally unreliable and technologically undisciplined. I believed this with all my heart. At my firm, I adamantly rejected any investment proposal related to the United States. Years ago, a contract with a US-based investment fund had resulted in a massive loss for me. The damage was caused by internal accounting fraud, but because I had approved the project, my career path stalled. America was a place I could trust with neither my heart nor my money. This was my conviction. When speaking with colleagues, I would always say, "You shouldn't do business in a place like America. Their management capabilities will never reach a global standard." I considered the US to be economically and culturally inferior to Japan and Europe. It was then that shocking news arrived. My old friend Emiko Ohashi called me. "Shusa, I've remarried to an American man. I'm living in New York now." The hand holding the phone trembled. Emiko was my age, a friend who, like me, had been living alone. That Emiko was starting a new life in that America? Was she really going to be okay? Could you really trust an American man? When I asked, Emiko's voice was brighter than I had ever heard it. "Shusa, being here, I've learned for the first time what it means to be truly loved. It's a completely different world." Hearing those words, I felt a part of my soul crumble. Why America? Why had Emiko found happiness in the very place I held in such contempt and distrust? What could possibly be so good about America? "You have to come and see for yourself, Shusa. It's truly, completely different." That night, I sat drinking sake, lost in thought. Was what I knew about America the whole truth? I quickly shook my head. My experiences couldn't be wrong. The place that took my husband, the place that ruined my career, how could I possibly trust it? But Emiko's transformed voice echoed in my ears. In this America that I saw as undisciplined and untrustworthy, what was really happening? A month later, I set foot in the United States. I had to attend the Asia Pacific Real Estate Investment Forum being held in New York City. Honestly, I was reluctant, but it was a business necessity. The moment I arrived at JFK Airport, the first shock hit. The immigration system was fully automated. A quick facial scan, and I was through faster and more efficient than even Japan's Narita Airport. "Strange," I muttered to myself. "How does America have this kind of technology?" It must be just for show, I thought. The actual application is probably full of problems. Riding the subway into the city, an even greater confusion awaited me. Passengers offered their seats to one another. When an elderly or frail person boarded, people naturally stood up. Someone even tried to give me, a foreigner, directions. Impossible, I thought. This has to be an act. I didn't want to admit it, but the reality before my eyes was slowly chipping away at my beliefs. When I checked into my hotel, I asked the receptionist how to get to the forum venue. "Don't worry," she said with a genuine smile. "It's a 20-minute subway ride, and if you get lost, anyone will help you." New Yorkers are kind to visitors. Her natural smile and confidence made me feel a bit awkward. I wanted to dismiss it as a performance, but it seemed too sincere. The next day at the forum, I met an asset management consultant named Daniel. After my presentation, he asked a piercing question. Isn't your Japanese firm's investment strategy too conservative? Your understanding of emerging markets, especially within Asia, seems insufficient. My face flushed instantly. Why should we trust an unstable market? Past cases have shown issues with reliability. Past cases? Daniel's expression grew serious. Are you referring to the incident with the US-based fund several years ago? My heart pounded. How did he know about that? Even more disorienting was his confident, logical demeanor. I have a lot I could say about that, he said, but now isn't the right time. On my way back to the hotel after the forum, I was in turmoil. Daniel's sharp questions, his confident attitude, the New York I was seeing with my own eyes, everything contradicted my preconceived notions. When I got lost on the subway, an American university student walked me all the way to my hotel. When I thanked him, he just said, "It's what anyone would do. If my parents were abroad, I'd hope someone would help them too." That night, Emiko sent me a message. "Shusa, you're in New York. If you have time tomorrow, let's meet. It's been 5 years. I miss you." The thought of seeing Emiko after 5 years made my heart race, but I also felt a sense of unease. I was afraid that the new Emiko, changed by America, would shatter the last of my convictions. The next afternoon, I met Emiko at a cafe in Greenwich Village. The Emiko I hadn't seen in 5 years was a completely different person. Her skin glowed, her face was bright and full of life. She looked 15 years younger. "Shusa, it's been so long." Emiko hugged me and laughed. Her smile was so genuine it left me bewildered. Where was the cautious, melancholy Emiko I once knew? "You've changed so much, Emiko. You're like a new person." "I know. Living here has changed me. I'm surprised myself. To be honest, Shusa, when I was in Japan, I felt like I was already dead." Emiko told me about her American husband, how they met, how they married, and how happy she was. To me, it all sounded like an unbelievable fairy tale. But the real shock came the following day at the forum. Daniel approached me quietly. "About my question yesterday," he began. "There's more I'd like to say. Can we talk somewhere private?" "About what?" When we reached a quiet coffee shop, Daniel spoke with grave seriousness. "The incident with the US-based fund years ago. I was the one who reported the internal irregularities." My mind went blank. What? I knew that fraudulent accounting was happening within my own company, so I reported it directly to Japan's financial regulators. As a result, your firm was saved from even greater losses. My legs went weak. All this time, I had been angry, resentful, and distrustful of Americans. But in reality, the person who had saved me was an American. Why? Why would you do that for a company that wasn't even yours? "Because it was the right thing to do," he said simply. "What matters is the person, not their nationality, isn't it? Wrong is wrong and needs to be corrected." In that second, the belief system I had built my entire life on came crashing down. It felt like 48 years of convictions had shattered into a million pieces. "You must have had a difficult time," Daniel said gently, "with your husband and then with that investment." That night at the hotel, I called Emiko in tears. "Emiko, is it real? Are American men not just putting on an act? Have I been wrong this whole time?" "Shusa, are you crying? How long has it been since I've heard your real voice? What kind of person had I become? How wrong had I been?" I was so ashamed of myself. Emiko listened patiently to my sobbing for a long time before speaking warmly. "Shusa, if you have time tomorrow, come to my house. My husband wants to cook for you." After hanging up, I looked at myself in the mirror. All the pride and prejudice I had accumulated over 48 years had crumbled away. This unfamiliar person with swollen red eyes and a tear-streaked face, when had I become so weak? What new truths would I have to face tomorrow at Emiko's home? The next evening, I went to Emiko's house in a quiet suburban community outside the city. In the neighborhood, elderly people sat chatting under trees while children played in a park. The simple, warm scene of daily life made my heart stir. David, Emiko's husband who answered the door, was a more ordinary-looking middle-aged man than I had expected, but his eyes were incredibly warm and his smile was sincere. "Hello, Miss Chusa. Emiko has told me so much about you. I have really been looking forward to meeting you." His polite and warm greeting made me nod shyly. Strangely, there was no judgment in his gaze, only a welcoming warmth. "You must be tired from your journey. Please come in." The house was modest but felt incredibly cozy. Soft music played in the living room and a faint, pleasant aroma filled the air. The walls were adorned with happy photos of Emiko and David, each one radiating genuine joy. On the dining table, a wonderful spread of American food was laid out, but I noticed some dishes were distinctly Japanese in style. "Did you make this yourself?" I asked. "Yes," David said. "I was worried Emiko might miss Japanese food, so I tried to replicate the flavors. I hope it's to your liking." His thoughtful consideration touched me deeply. He told me he had even taken Japanese cooking classes for Emiko's sake. I saw several well-worn Japanese cookbooks on the kitchen counter. "You learned to cook Japanese food for Emiko?" "Of course," he said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "She's the most important person to me. Making her happy is my job." During dinner, he spoke cautiously. "Emiko told me you lost your husband. That must have been incredibly difficult." I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. He continued gently. "When my father passed away, my mother was alone for many years. It broke my heart to see her eating by herself." He looked at me, his eyes full of understanding. "Eating alone. It must be so lonely, isn't it? There's no one to tell you the food is delicious, no one to care if you've had enough." In that moment, 4 years of pent-up emotions burst forth. That's right. Eating alone is so lonely. No one had ever asked me that. The emptiness and isolation I felt every time I sat at the dining table, the deep longing for someone to be by my side, someone finally understood. "I'm sorry," I stammered, trying to wipe away my tears, but they wouldn't stop. "It's okay to cry," David said softly. "You don't have to hide your feelings here. When you're sad, you cry. When you're happy, you laugh. That's natural. People aren't machines. Having feelings is a beautiful thing." David handed me a tissue and sat beside me quietly, not rushing me, not showing any sign of annoyance. He just stayed with me. Emiko took my hand. "Shusa." It was after hearing him say that I decided to spend my life in America. That's when I realized how precious it is to have someone who truly understands your loneliness. In Japan, everyone tells you to be strong, to be independent. But here, weakness is accepted. Tears are understood. "You really have changed," I said, looking at Emiko. Her eyes held a peace and contentment I had never seen before. "Yes, I have," she said. "I've become my true self. No more pretending, no more putting up armor, just being who I am." After dinner, David's mother arrived. She was in her 82nd, walking slowly with a cane. The moment she saw me, she set her cane aside and took both of my hands in her warm, rough ones. "You've been through so much, dear," she said. "I know how hard it is to be alone. I've been there myself." The warmth from her hands seeped into my heart and I began to cry again. When had I become so weak? Or had I always been this weak and lonely, just pretending to be strong? The grandmother patted my back gently. "Let it out, child. It's good to cry it all out. Tears aren't shameful. They cleanse the soul." She continued, "I like the Japanese people. You're so polite, so graceful, and so strong. But you have to remember, it's okay to be weak sometimes. We're all family here." In her words, there was no pity, only understanding and acceptance. She told me stories of her youth, how she navigated the lonely years after her husband died, how she rediscovered her purpose, and how she learned to find strength in her vulnerability. "There's no winter that lasts forever," she said, her eyes shining with wisdom. "Spring always comes." That night, Emiko and I sat, drinking tea and talking. Outside the window, the New York skyline glittered, but the warmth inside the house felt far more brilliant. Emiko, I was such a fool, I confessed. I completely misunderstood America. How arrogant I was. It's not too late to know now, Shusa, she said. What matters is the future. If you open your heart, the world will change. But I'm 48. Is it too late? Emiko looked at me, her eyes full of encouragement. You know, when I first came here, I thought the same thing, but now I believe that loving and being loved have nothing to do with age. If your heart is young, you are young. Something deep inside me began to shift. The feelings that had been frozen for 4 years were slowly thawing, as if a warm spring breeze had found its way into the deepest corner of my heart. But I was still afraid to open up completely. Could I really trust and love someone again? Did I even deserve to be loved? A few days later, Emiko took me to a special place, a community center in the city, hosting a gathering for middle-aged Japanese women. You'll see you're not the one, she said. There are so many Japanese women who have found a new life in America. The room was warmly decorated. The women there were all in their late 40s and 50s, women my age living completely different lives. The first to share her story was Akemi Sato, 45. I remarried an American man 5 years ago, she said with a bright smile. In Japan, I was gossiped about for being a widow. My relatives, my friends, they all looked at me with strange eyes. But here, there's none of that. The first time I met my husband's family, they said, "Welcome to our family." They told me the past doesn't matter. What's important is my happiness now. Tears welled in her eyes. For the first time, I felt completely accepted, not for my circumstances or my past, but just for being me. Next was Hanako Yamada, 52. She spoke through tears. My husband had terminal cancer. The American doctors and nurses didn't just treat his body, they cared for the hearts of our entire family. He held my hand every day and said, "We'll fight this together." Even in his most painful moments, he worried about me. He kept his promise to be by my side until the very end. She paused, her voice trembling. In Japan, everyone tells you to accept reality, to be strong. But here, they told me it's okay to be weak. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to love with all your heart. When my husband passed, the entire hospital staff was there for us. I'll never forget that feeling of being understood and supported. In that instant, my heart broke. When my own husband was sick, I was so alone. The cold hospital corridors, the formulaic treatments, the empty words of comfort that only made me feel more isolated. I never knew how important the certainty of being loved truly was. Each story echoed a similar theme. A culture of acceptance that embraced people for who they were, regardless of their age, past, or nationality. What do you think of this side of America, Miss Shusa? One woman asked me. I was speechless for a long time, realizing how wrong and narrow-minded my prejudices had been. I was completely mistaken, I said, my voice shaking. I misunderstood this country entirely. Technologically, it has aspects far more advanced than Japan, but even more amazing is the heart of its people. Why did I never know such a warm culture existed here? I paused, feeling the supportive atmosphere in the room. In Japan, we are used to keeping our distance, to not bothering others. But here, caring for one another is natural. This cultural difference has made me rethink what true civility island. Emiko squeezed my hand. Now you understand, don't you, Shusa, why I'm so happy here. America didn't change me. It allowed me to find my true self. Yes, I whispered. I understand. This is a wonderful place. The people here have a special magic that sees the best in everyone's heart. As the gathering ended, the women hugged me warmly. Welcome home, they whispered. You are not alone. You have a place here. That night, I thought deeply about America's advanced technology, its surprising efficiency, and most importantly, the warmth of its people. But one question remained. Where did this incredible culture come from? What was the foundational philosophy that made Americans so accepting and warm? The next afternoon, I met Daniel again. I ran into him by chance in front of a hospital where he was taking his father for an appointment. His demeanor astonished me. He was slowly supporting his father, who looked to be in his 80 seconds, matching his own pace to the elderly man's frail steps. The gentle care and infinite patience he showed left me speechless. "It's okay, Dad, take your time," he said softly. "If your knees hurt, we can rest." Seeing Daniel speak so gently reminded me of my own past, how impatient I had been when my husband was sick, always rushing him, how I had suffered in my own lonely world, never truly being patient and present with him the way Daniel was with his father. We spoke briefly in the hospital lobby. "You come with him like this every week?" I asked. "Yes. His health isn't great, but it's never a burden. It's what a son should do." His answer was so natural. In Japan, many people would send their parents to a nursing home. I couldn't help but say, "We have those here too," he replied. "But for us, family stays together. He raised me, now it's my turn to care for him," is a circle of love. Daniel's words gave me pause. "You've changed a lot since we first met," he observed. "You didn't seem to like America very much then." "I have changed," I admitted. "I was so wrong about this country. It's a truly wonderful place." Then Daniel asked carefully, "I heard you had a difficult time caring for your husband. It must have been hard to bear that burden alone." Instantly, my eyes filled with tears. I was so alone. No one helped me. I didn't even know how to care for a sick person. To watch someone you love fade away by yourself, that feeling of helplessness. Daniel's warm and sincere words, his deep understanding overwhelmed me. I thought I wasn't qualified to be loved. I confessed that I didn't take good care of him. I always thought if I had just been a little more attentive, a little more patient, maybe he wouldn't have left. No, Daniel's voice was firm and warm. That's not it at all. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about being there. You did your best, and that is more than enough. You are a precious person, and you are fully qualified to be loved. Hearing those words, the corner of my heart that had been frozen for 4 years melted completely. When was the last time someone had spoken to me with such warmth? When was the last time someone had accepted me just as I am? Just then, Daniel's father finished his checkup. The kind old man smiled at me. "Daniel, is this your friend?" "Yes, Dad, this is Miss Shusa from Japan." The old man nodded. "A young woman all alone in America. You must come have dinner at our house tonight." "Oh, no, I couldn't impose." He waved his hand. "It's no trouble at all. Eating alone is no fun. Another person just makes it merrier. Besides, you're our guest. We Americans love having guests." His words were so natural and friendly that I felt a simple, profound warmth. That evening, I went to their home, a classic 3-generation American household. In the living room, family photos hung on the walls. In the kitchen, the smell of delicious food wafted out. Daniel's mother, a kind woman in her 60 seconds, immediately welcomed me with tea and snacks. The dinner table was filled with laughter as Daniel's wife and 2 children joined us. The whole family enveloped me in warmth. Daniel's father kept putting food on my plate. His mother made sure I had enough soup. His wife asked gently if I was enjoying the food. "This is delicious," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "I haven't had a meal filled with so much love in a very long time." "Then you must come often," his mother smiled. "Our door is always open. In America, friends are family." After dinner, Daniel's father shared his life stories, teaching his children to be good people, to love, and to help those in need. "Money is fleeting," the old man said. "What truly matters are the connections between people. Where there is love, that is home." His simple words were profound. I thought about my own definition of success, the pursuit of money and status. But true wealth wasn't a number in a bank account. It was the warmth in one's heart and the certainty of being loved. On the way back to my hotel, Daniel said, "Miss Shusa, The most important thing in life isn't avoiding falling down, but learning how to get back up again. You are very brave. Believe in yourself. You deserve to be loved. Under the glittering New York night sky, I felt my own heart begin to shine again. On my last day, Daniel introduced me to a special person, a distinguished professor of philosophy at Columbia University. Professor Miller, a man in his 82nd, welcomed me with a gentle smile. "I've learned so much here," I told him. "I never knew America was such a wonderful place." Professor Miller poured tea and spoke quietly. "We Americans have a value we call community spirit. It's not just a simple feeling, but a long-held philosophy. It's about seeing another's pain as your own, sharing in their joy, and connecting with people beyond blood ties or borders. This is the spirit we protect." Hearing his profound words, I felt I was finally understanding the root of all the warmth I had experienced. "We also have a deep sense of empathy," he continued. "It's the ability to read another's heart even when they don't speak, and to care for them proactively." "Ah, so that's why everyone understood my feelings so well." "Yes," the professor said, his eyes kind. "And we have a deep capacity for compassion. Compassion is not just about sadness, it's a power that turns sorrow into hope. You carry a deep sadness, but that can become the driving force for a new beginning. I'm so glad you found your answers here in America." Tears streamed down my face. America wasn't just a place of advanced technology. It held a deep wisdom and philosophy that could heal a person's soul. "Professor," I said, "I have a request. I want to learn English. I want to truly understand this beautiful philosophy and spirit." Professor Miller smiled brightly. That night on the plane back to Tokyo, I downloaded an English learning app. "Hello, thank you, I love you." As I practiced the words, I found myself crying, understanding now the deep sincerity and kindness embedded in them. My week in America had changed my life. But this wasn't the end. It was the true beginning. A month after returning to Tokyo, I enrolled in an English institute. At 48, learning a new language wasn't easy, but I felt the thrill of a 20-year-old. At work, my colleagues continued to speak disparagingly of America. "Shusa's been acting strange since her business trip," they'd whisper. "Why waste time learning the language of a place like that?" Before, I would have been ashamed. Now, I just smiled, feeling a sense of pity for what they were missing. 3 months later, I made the most important decision of my life. I submitted my resignation. "Are you sure about this?" my manager asked, shocked. "You're 48. Are you really going to start over?" "Yes," I said, my heart full of conviction. "I'm going to start my real life." That night, I messaged Emiko. "Thank you for holding my hand that day. Because of you, I have the courage to begin again." "Shusa, I'm so proud of you," she wrote back. The next day, I booked a one-way ticket to New York. This time, it wasn't for business. It was a journey to begin my second life. For the 8th of may seem late, but I was convinced that my true youth was just beginning. What America gave me wasn't just advanced technology or efficiency. It taught me how to love someone sincerely, how to share my feelings, and how to have the courage to dream again. When you cast aside prejudice and pride and look at the world with an open heart, you can see a truth this beautiful. Age is just a number. With true intention, you can always begin anew.